everyone, welcome back to Living Even Keeled. Today I'm here to talk to you about the book The Nesting Place from Michelin Smith, who is known as The Nester all over social media, Instagram, and her blog, thenester.com. I'm sure some of you know about The Nester, but she's new to me and I love everything about her that I know. So this book has given me permission, though I already had permission, we all do, but it's allowed me to love my home and its quirks and its imperfections. I've always struggled with the way I decorate. I know it's like first world problems to the max, but I love to nest. I love to get my home cozy and seek things out at thrift stores and stuff, but I always had a problem with the way it looked. I felt like it never looked nice. I don't feel that way anymore, but I struggled thinking like, why can't I get my home to look like that IKEA catalog or this display over here? It's because those aren't in real homes. Real homes have quirks and imperfections, and that's what makes it perfect. You know, perfectly imperfect. Those things that you walk into your house and you think, wow, it's nice in here. It's because you're welcomed. Things aren't just so, it's not a museum. It's a place where you can touch things and feel things. At least those are some of the ways I want to feel when I'm in my home. I want people to feel like they can walk around with a drink in their hand. I know it's kind of hard because I have a cream rug, but for the most part, I want people to feel comfortable and things don't always need to be just so. And when you live a less is more lifestyle, it can kind of feel like you can't touch things and move things around. So I'm working on coming up with, I'm going to use her words here, the cozy minimalist style. In fact, this was her first book. It came out in 2014, but she has another one on the way. I think it will be out in October called The Cozy Minimalist. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited to read that book. Those two words perfectly describe the way I want my home to feel. Sort of like clutter-free but welcoming idea. So all that to say that I am really a fan of Michelin Smith now. In this book, she talks about her journey being a renter and making a home that you may not really love but can just afford, making it your perfect place. Now, if you didn't know, this is our first home we bought. I'm 35. It took us a long time to gather the money, find the place, get the home, and story to come later, homeownership being like all it's cracked up to be, not too sure, but I appreciate this house so much. Every day that I'm here, I love it more and more because of the weird quirks and things that I'm doing to it. I'm picking paint colors that maybe not everyone loves, but I love them and my husband, and I really could care less about what other people think, honestly. Michelin is a big fan of thrifting and yard selling and doing slip covers or easy DIYs. There's a story in here that I totally related to, and it's about bringing home something that you saw on somebody's blog. Like maybe they recently did an end table and then you're at Goodwill and you see an end table and you think, I'm gonna do the same thing. And you bring it home and you tell your husband, just for an example, that you're gonna paint it. And he's like, oh, that's good wood, you can't paint that wood. Or your mother-in-law sees it and it's like, oh, you gotta sand it first and do all this and coat it, this, that, and it just becomes like a bigger project. Well, the blogger brought it home, wiped it down and painted it, but you're gonna sand it and do all these extra things because you're chasing this perfection. It's gonna sit in your garage for months. You're never gonna do anything with it, and then you're gonna get rid of it. Someone else is gonna buy it, wipe it down and put paint on it, and you're gonna be jealous. So the idea of letting the perfection go, not everything needs to be just right, step-by-step, tutorial style. Sometimes you need to come home with something, slap some lipstick on it and put it in your house and love it for its quirky imperfections. That's kind of the thing with this. I have already decided to get rid of it, but then at the last minute I thought, let me see one more try what I can do with it. If you didn't know, this was a tall white hutch from Kmart, 2005, 2006. It's lasted a long time and I really liked it, but I felt like the piece was too bulky, plus it took a tumble down my basement stairs and it totally broke. This is extremely wobbly. It cannot hold a lot of weight. If you pick it up, it will crumble. The top, like they're not attached. The base part, the middle part, nothing's attached. You're kind of just sitting on each other. I don't care who's moving this piece of furniture besides my husband and myself. I like it the way it is. Now the paint on it is some weird interior paint that I had that should not be put on this type of laminate furniture. If I take my fingernail, I could very easily scratch off a whole strip of it. But again, I do not care. Sure, it looks good in pictures, but the point is it looks good in my home the way it is. As my daughters open and close it, it's gonna get scratched up and whatever. And I don't care. It does its job for me. I like it better now that it's smaller. I don't like big bulky furniture. It's the piece for me. I'm the one who lives in this home. Same thing to you guys. You're the one who lives in your home. Only you and the people who live in that home have to like what you do, your colors, your plants, your mugs, It's all for you. It's your home. It's your nest. She talks about coming up with creative ways to make things work for both the renter and just the person who maybe doesn't want to spend a ton of money. There's tips and tricks and DIYs and tons of inspiration. And it's also a little part biography, because I learned through this book a lot of the struggles and hardships they had with money and moving and starting their family in an apartment in a town, you know, where you maybe don't want to live in this side of town where there's crime. And I've been there. I have been there, maybe not with my kids in all those places, but we've rented just about everywhere. So give yourself permission to make the room work for you. This is our dining room and we use it as one, but for another family, this might be a homeschool room or another type of family room or an office. Just because it's called a bedroom and it has a closet doesn't mean you have to put bed and clothes in there. Do what you want with your home. So just a word on the book. Mine is a library book, but it's hardback, beautiful glossy pictures on every page. Look at how colorful this is. This is one of my favorite pictures in here. I love the colors that she painted on this canvas, and the wreath she made, guys, is plastic spoons. If you don't feel like you're an artist, you can just put some color on the canvas itself. So she just painted the canvas in her favorite colors of the moment, and maybe she's already repainted over it again. I've painted over my canvases so many times. They're getting warped. I need to figure out something to do. But I've had these big canvases that are now black and white, and I showed you that DIY, but forget the perfection. If I worried about perfection, I would have spent a lot of money making something that I might not love as much. Instead, I found 2 things of paint that were already on hand, and I used a canvas that was already on hand, and I made it work. This is a sunburst mirror made out of poster board. This is awesome. I have a DIY sunburst mirror that I made from, what are those, like wood sticks, wood shims? Are they called shims maybe? This is one of my favorite patterns. I never bought fabric in this pattern, but once again, seeing it in her book makes me really want to go out and do it. I'm always one to move furniture around, move rugs around. Eventually, when things don't work out, I will go seek something new. But I do like to try and move things around first to see if I can give something a new life. And you'd be surprised just by moving a chair or a plant, how different your room can feel. There's a whole section on here that I think is really valuable, talking about behind the picture, how we all kind of, you know, make our home nice and neat to take that picture, but in reality it might look a different way day to day. I think that section is really valuable right now at a time where we're all on Instagram and maybe other social media sites. We see these really nice photos and you can easily trick yourself into thinking that someone's home is always looking that way. I don't think the person taking the picture wants you to think that, and if they do, maybe you're following the wrong person. But really, that person is putting a picture out to the world, and it makes sense that they would clean up the home a little bit before they take the picture. So there is a fine balance of unfollowing those accounts that maybe put on an air of perfection, and also just you knowing that they're putting their best foot forward on purpose, and they shouldn't always be faulted for that. So this book was super enjoyable. I loved waking up early in the mornings to get my coffee and to read this and just to have something lighthearted that inspired me. Every time I would read something, I would look up from my book and look around my home and think, what can I do? And I love that feeling, so I want you to enjoy your imperfect home too. I can't always come up with the best advice in DIYs, but I can recommend some of the best books. So go check out The Nesting Place when you have time. You will not regret it. And of course, once The Cozy Minimalist comes out, I'll give you my review on that too. I actually pre-ordered it. Other than Harry Potter's final book, this is the only other book that I've pre-ordered. In fact, it was my husband who pre-ordered Harry Potter, so this is the first book I've ever pre-ordered. I'm gonna be watching the calendar because I'm so excited to read The Cozy Minimalist. Perfectly right up my alley. Cannot wait to get some of her insight. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all your suggestions on this hutch. It's come a long way. The hutch lives, only half of it. I like it as it is. I like it half size. It's sort of like a serving board to me. It's just perfect. I'm not gonna change it. It's weirdly imperfect, which is how I would describe myself. So thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.